Let us see if this will work this time. Okay. Hoping to see some people out
there. Hopefully. Sorry for the confusion, everyone. What a pain.
Like we were saying, they changed some settings and stuff.
It was big.
They don't give you the option to do things the way I've been doing them for 8 years. Hey there, John, Doug.
Oh, yay, we got people. Hooray. Thanks, guys. Hey, Tom, great to see you. Wonderful. We got people in the house. Candy King, Truth Co-op, Miss Diana, Amanda, great to see you.
Katie, good to see you. Much love. And guys, just been a crazy day. It's been
Benzomatic. Hello.
I haven't heard anything from Wayne. So our Wayne Steiger yesterday, his wife Lynn was in an accident. Just sent them a brief message. I don't want to intrude, but I haven't heard anything. So we're still sending prayers out that way, and positive energy. I've also in the past mentioned prayers for our good friends Leah and Neil. Honestly, they're going through like total hell.
It's pretty horrible.
It's really brutal what they're going through right now, as it does seem like it's really Neil's last days, but they're just going through a lot, so asking prayers there as well. And for all of us, every one of you and all your families, and again, it's a crazy time. This time is not for squeamish or those that are too fearful. Absolutely not. We have to be strong in these times.
Yeah, we do. I mean, and it's really yucky out there. And there's our KK. Thank you, KK, for your help earlier. I saw, hi, Regina. Great to see you guys. No, it's tough. I mean, the weird thing is hearing people talk about their bones being very sore, and when we go up in frequency, that can be extremely painful.
Yeah, and our intention is, again, just to bring awareness to the fact that we don't want to see nobody in your right mind and with a compassionate heart would want to see any more war. Yet it does seem that that's where this world is marching to, the leadership of this world, as today was just even more ramped up than other days. It just seems like it keeps moving upward. So leave immediately. Now, that is a warning from Polish officials to their citizens to leave Belarus. And there's more than just that going on. There's a lot of people that follow military movement and watch that very closely, what's going on geopolitically. And they feel that we might be in the few days before something kicks off that's very, very large. We're going to cover all this. Poland urges citizens to leave Belarus by any means necessary. Poland urgently advises citizens to leave Belarus by any means necessary amid the rising tensions. Discover the latest risks and safety measures in this critical situation. It's an advisory again. Belarus is right next to Poland, and you know what? Let's just take a peek in case anything major has popped up with earthquakes, and I'll show you guys the area that we're talking about too. Been watching this from this morning, a 5.9 off the coast of Oregon. It's always felt to me that we'd have some sort of very large natural-ish disaster right before the war kicks off in earnest. And as we said too, it has always seemed that they want to create the conditions for a civil conflict to be happening perhaps just before WW3 happens, or right at the same time. So as you can see, that's the biggest quake that we're looking at, 5.9. Again, Juan de Fuca plate area. So always something to keep an eye on. Now, when we're talking about the troop and all the movements going on, you can see this is Warsaw and the capital of Poland. Poland here, we have Belarus right next door. So Poland has an eastern border with Ukraine and Belarus, as well as a northerly border with Kaliningrad, which is controlled by Russia, and Lithuania here as well. So what's been ongoing, obviously, is the war in Ukraine, where now Russia controls a pretty good chunk of far eastern Ukraine, southeastern in particular, and some of the southern Ukraine as well. And as we know, this conflict started really going back to 2022. It was right before the peak energies of the Pluto return of the United States. Everything is tied together here. So Poland is urgently telling its people to get out of Belarus. Now, Belarus is strongly aligned with Russia. And Poland is, again, part of that NATO alliance. And then we have Estonia, Lithuania, Latvia, right over here, the Baltic nations. So we're watching all this very closely, because you have many reports now of coming out of Belarus that they've already deployed the Russian intermediate range ballistic missile, the Oreshnikov, which we've seen in action, and it does seem that this thing travels insanely fast, and it's supposed to be unstoppable. And so here now, again, it's been talked about how long it would take for this missile, if it was launched from Russia, right, to hit certain places. Well, it would hit London in 16 minutes, and Berlin 11 minutes, Brussels 14, Paris 15. Now it's been deployed closer to those places in Belarus. Again, Belarus is a very, very strong ally of Russia. So, this is disconcerting, because these have been placed all around the country, and you have confirmation from official sources. So, this is definitely not a good development. Don't forget, you have at the UN, Sergei Lavrov. He claimed NATO and the EU are already in a real war with Russia through their support for Ukraine. Now, Britain dismissed the remarks as false fantasy world distortions, but the language raised alarms. Did Moscow just frame its fight as a direct war with NATO and the EU? If so, anything could happen at any time. This came as Trump praised Ukraine's resilience and said NATO allies should shoot down Russian jets that violate their airspace. Russia controls about 20% of Ukraine, and there's no end to the war in sight. Millions have been lost in this war. If you're talking childbearing age men and women, you're looking at like a generation that's been kind of wiped out from that area. It's really huge. It's really sad. Now, there's war games going on with NATO. You have the carrier group Gerald R. Ford join NATO's Neptune strike in the high north. This is in the North Sea. So, when we're talking about this, where is this ongoing? Up in here. So you have a large naval force of NATO up here right now, ready to respond if there was anything major. The naval force would be there to support, whether we're talking an attack on Poland, some sort of invasion. Again, when you look to what did Alois Ermeiler say, he said that this was the time of year that World War III was going to happen, and that Russia was going to just move so fast right through the Baltic states and Ukraine and right through Poland too, or at least a part of it. It was going to happen very, very quickly, and the world would be stunned with how quickly it happened. When you realize too, there's many nations behind Russia right now. It's very, very sobering overall. So this Neptune Strike Series is designed to demonstrate NATO's ability to integrate high-end maritime strike capabilities, strengthen deterrence, and ensure freedom of navigation across waterways. This is a pretty good size exercise. You have 13 different NATO countries taking part, including Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Lithuania, Norway, Poland, Turkey, Sweden, the UK, and the US. So, we are talking basically about these countries that we're also looking at for other reasons. Again, these countries were taken over so quickly by Germany in World War II. It's just interesting to note that history does tend to repeat itself. Here, this is Venezuela. This is another totally congruous situation, really, with what's going on right now. Venezuela has new weapons. They do, and they're coming from Iran as well as probably Russia and China too. But we have confirmation of these naval weapons coming into Venezuela. Now, we have a U.S. fleet down there, and it looks like the U.S. might strike Venezuela. They've already sank or hit 3 different boats. Now, those boats were supposed to be like drug runners, but this would be something totally different. So you have Iranian missile boats arriving here and offloading weaponry for Venezuela. And then we also have China, Russia, Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba. They're all in a military alliance, in case you've missed that from over the last year or so, couple years. It's been developing. So you have a lot of different countries coming together. It really does feel like the last movements before something kicks off. I hope that's not the case. I hope, again, cooler heads will prevail. But at the same time, I mean, we got so much other news coming out right now that World War III would do a lot of distracting from other things that are going on, would it not?
It would, and despite what we see up on the screen, there's a lot of really, really good comments, positive comments that I see in the chat that it's very much appreciated, because things are there's a lot of tension. The planets are aligned in a way to bring a lot of tension. We just got over a really, really difficult eclipse season, and we're coming into another place where Pluto and Uranus are bouncing energy off of each other, and it is not good. So this is a situation where things could get real hairy real fast. So I think we all just need to stay positive and hopefully avoid some of the worst.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many things coming together right now that it's hard to think of it all cooling off, but it could cool off. I think our intentions matter a lot, and our speaking up, I think, is the biggest thing. If people overwhelmingly tell their leaders to back the bleep down, that's really what's kind of needed here. The Russian Federation received information from Hungarian intelligence. So Hungary has been, I want to say that they haven't been going along with a lot of the, Germany, France, the UK, with the war hawks, let's say that they've been kind of not really going along with this war machine, the military-industrial complex that wants to expand the Ukrainian war. But here you have, and Orban has been a very, very interesting character to follow. I again wouldn't be surprised if he was even one of the three that Alois Ermeiler saw. Alois saw three key people being taken out by assassination before the war got going. And you got to wonder if Charlie was number one at this point. And then who would be number two and number three? Well, the Polish psychic Christoph, I've been trying to keep up with all his work that he's been doing. He sees Netanyahu not being here long at all, and he's had visions of Netanyahu's funeral. So could that possibly be number two? And he did also say that one of those assassinations would happen around this area, like Croatia, Slovenia, Croatia. I think he worded it the Balkans, which, yes, there's a few other countries we could throw in there too. It's just something to be aware of, because I think he was very gifted, like our Christoph is in these times, and like our Cindy is too. But she doesn't see the war stuff. It's something that her higher self keeps away from her. Hungary is warning about a false flag attack by Ukraine on Poland and Romania. The word is they're planning to fly downed drones refitted with explosives into Europe and blame it on Russia. Now, the Polish psychic did see something like that too. So that is curious as well. Today, Zelensky accused Hungary of violating Ukrainian airspace, which Hungary has denied. I remember, again, when the wall came down. I mean, I know a lot of you guys probably remember when the wall came down. And remember when Germany was, divided east and west. Remember the Iron Curtain, all that. We've come a long way. And I know the people of the world don't want this. There's no way the vast majority of the population wants WW3. I don't trust any of their surveys they throw out there. And a lot of times they do surveys and look at it like, oh, this is definitive. The public is behind this. And what do they survey? Like 100 people? 1,000 people? That's nothing. And again, it's just, you always have the manipulation that's out there. It's just so beyond obvious. To just try to get whatever it is, lobbying. It's bribery. Our whole system has to go. It will go, but it's going to scratch and claw the whole way.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I think we just need to be mindful to not be divisive with one another right now, because there's a lot going on, and that's the last thing that we need right now. It's really tough on everybody. If you see what's going on the outside, that's going on the inside of every single being.
There's very few traumatic events that are worse than war in literally doing drastic damage to our literally our DNA, and our it impacts the very ether. Again, there really are ghosts walking battlefields, like Civil War battlefields like Gettysburg, 175 years or whatever it is after that, because that could trap the entity on the other side and trap them in a loop, so to speak. And it does create negative energies, Edgar Casey obviously gave us a lot of earth change prophecies, which timing-wise have proved to be off, but they still might come about in a delayed manner, and hopefully, too, not as severe. But the earth does have to cleanse itself. Dolores Cannon also gave information saying that there would be these earth changes. And she said, too, look for the battlefields of the world. where areas where you've had big battles, those areas are likely to experience natural earth changes because it's an attempt by the earth to wash away the residue of these horrific things. You know, when we look to Europe in World War One and World War Two, you know, there's so much still negative karma and, you know, negative energy in certain areas that saw horrific battles, and we certainly don't want to see any more. Here, Flight Radar 24 is showing a Russian Air Force jet going out, and you know, looks like it's heading towards Stockholm, but it's probably heading to Kaliningrad, would be my guess. You know, there's a lot of movement being watched by a lot of people right now. Our Navy is out there again, out by Norway again, you know, out in the Baltic Sea and the North Sea. There's just, it's very tense. And then again, we could go even to Taiwan and China and all these other areas around the world where there's tension. This is truly global. Here you go. This is a clear message. China, Russia, Pakistan, and Iran issued a joint statement opposing any move to reestablish military bases in war-torn Afghanistan. Now, this comes after 47 said he said he wants our base back, the base that we had over in Afghanistan that ended up getting overrun, and all the billions of dollars in equipment that was what seemed to be very purposely left there, probably to be used against us in the future during the Biden regime. So Russia, China, Pakistan, and Iran militarily aligned, obviously. And we also had Pakistan aligned with Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia has been an ally of the U.S., but at the same time, obviously, it's an Islamic nation. Obviously, there's not a lot of nice feelings going towards Israel, and the U.S. has been strongly aligned with Israel, perhaps aligned more with Israel than any other nation, you know, either that or Great Britain. But when you look at it, you could throw Saudi Arabia into this alliance. We could throw North Korea into this alliance too. We could obviously throw Venezuela into that alliance, Cuba, Nicaragua as well. So we could see, really, truly, this is a conflict that would really encompass the whole world.
I mean, it would be really nice if they would all play nicely together, but, you know, that dynamic doesn't work for them.
No, why don't they sit down, play a game of Risk, and, you know, get over it?
Yeah, have a couple shots, enjoy each other, and, you know, I mean, but where would that get them?
Right. Yeah, as Rosemary says, you know, Australia, of course, supports the U.S. and the U.K. as well. Australia is so big, so vast, and has such small population. I really do worry for our friends down there, because they would probably be overrun very quickly, given the location and proximity to China and some of their allies. But, you know, again, we put out our prayers for peace, but recognize what's happening. And there's so much other things going on as well. This is Thomas Massey saying it's great to be joining Rand Paul in Harrison County this week, and also announced that the 218th signature that he needed to force a House vote on the Epstein Files Transparency Act was received. So it's going to go to a vote in the House, and we'll have to see what's going to happen there. Both Thomas Massey and Rand Paul have been absolutely anti-war hawks. They are the farthest thing from war hawks, and you could even view them as isolationists in some ways, libertarian minded. So we do have our internal conflict, which is very obvious. Mass rioters blocking, attacking ICE agents This is outside of Chicago. The quote here says, "Time to send in the National Guard. Enough is enough." Yeah, chaotic scenes. Looks like they're trying to turn over vehicles. Some people were arrested too. Just kind of crazy chaos. When we think about 2020 and the plague upon the land, before that you didn't see everybody wearing masks. Now it's like everybody's a masked man, and that includes ICE too.
This has been going on all across the country. I think we just covered this last night too in Oregon, and now we have it here, and it's going to be going on. So the chaos is definitely escalating.
It is. It's just, it's exactly that perfect storm, unfortunately, coming together. So, yeah, it's just, it's tense. And, again, none of us want to see any of this. Trump directs task force to counter rogue NGOs and leftist groups sowing chaos. So, civil terrorism is spreading like cancer across the nation, fueled by radical. We get the whole picture. We understand. It's crazy, chaotic, and that left-right dichotomy that's kept us divided. More and more people are understanding that it's really a very, very useful tool, and at the same time, we need more people too, to recognize how, again, it's all very, very orchestrated. U.S. Treasury announces full-scale bailout for Argentina. Bond purchase, swap, and credit line. So Argentina is getting bailed out. Now, at the same time, for the good that has come out of things like, we all know, what happened talking about the ouchies and certain conditions that have become so prevalent in the United States, and the healthcare crisis, all that. But 47 has said that they might have to look at pushing back the age for Social Security. Yet here we go, we're just going to be handing out money again to other countries to help them, and it's the entirety of the system hasn't been very good at all, and that's putting it extremely mild. So yeah, $20 billion, sure, again, and yet there's so many basic things that there's no money for it, and it's all our money. Is the thing? It's everybody's blood, sweat, and tears, and they decide what they want to do with it. Yeah. This whole system is not, it's not even Bronze Age. This is a Dark Age system. It is the farthest thing from enlightened. And of course, when I say that, I mean all of it. That includes communism, socialism, capitalism, all of it. We have to think out of the box. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer, digital ID will be mandatory in order to have a right to work. So let me spell it out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you don't have a digital ID. It's as simple as that. He says it will be done before the end of this parliament. So, yeah, at the same time, there's already, now I've seen well over a million Brits that have signed a petition opposing this. So when does this end? Well, again, he's just one puppet amongst, so many puppets. It's been a long list of puppets. You need something different.
You do, and it's all kind of panned out, but I think that's where we have to do our own thing and figure out our own ways, because when the time does come, they're not going to be there for us.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think, again, what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of breakaway societies, breakaway parts of the world that just are not going to take place. Now, remember, if they do the big war, they're going to try to draft people. Countries will be trying to draft people. And I really can't think of anything that's more atrocious than that. Forcing somebody to go off and try to end the life of some other poor slob too that was just yanked out of their home. It is so diabolical. To me, it's pure evil, to do that. And the problem is all the world's governments. They're the problem, all of them.
Yeah. They really are, with all this money they're sending over in aid for everyone else. There's so many people that could truly use a hand up, just a little bit of help. And that's right here at home, just to better our own home. And then what about all the laws they're fixing to pass about retirement, fixing to bump that up to 70? What about those folks? That's just not fair. It's so not fair. And what do? We sit here so extremely helpless until we decide to do something different. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, it is. It is. Again, me personally, I would never go along with that. So, if you're looking at jail, then you're looking at jail. But there's just no way, because why would you ever take another person's life, that you don't even know, has never really done anything to you? And again, most of the stats show that when people first enter a battle situation, the majority of them do not shoot to kill. The majority of them even purposefully miss. Obviously you get to a certain point in a battle and then you have to make a decision. But yeah, and I think that says a lot about, truly who humans are, because I don't think most people are pure evil. I don't think most people really want to harm anybody else. I think, again, it's the manipulating system that's in place that has found this as a useful tool for more than one reason. Scottish government confirmed it opposes Labour's plans to introduce compulsory digital ID. Again, I think things are going to break down. I think states are going to leave unions. I think countries are going to start to fall apart. This is probably, the beginning of what we're witnessing. At the UN today, Netanyahu went up to speak, and like half the building emptied out immediately. Because, again, people just can't take what's been going on. They just can't take it anymore. They've had enough. And, they're just basically walking out. So, there you go. Two wrongs never make a right. And, again, the leadership of this world has been absolutely atrocious. All of it. New documents included basically pull Elon into the fray with, that island, not Gilligan's, no, the E Island. Elon went to the island, they say, meetings with Steve Bannon and others. Yeah, you just don't find angels, in a place where demons gather,
Right.
and, the demons would not promote an angel, to be, a higher echelon demonic entity. So yeah, I mean, I think what you do have though is you do have some that are hearing the call of their higher selves, and are not able to go along with things that they were going along with in times past, because again, the frequencies on the planet are changing. And for a couple days now, I haven't seen the chemtrailing, and I felt a difference in the frequency too. Have you guys felt a difference in the frequency where you're at? Because again, these things are regional too, as they tend to rotate whatever their flight plans are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they definitely do. The frequency, that's where my focus is watching the frequency and seeing how people are doing. And it just, it's a time where I think we need to be very kind to each other. We need to be very patient with each other as much as possible. And, where you can, just be positive. It's not easy out there for anybody.
So there probably will be compensation given to people that did certain things during the time of the cure of the plague upon the land. Cindy did get that going all the way back to, gosh, when was that? 2020, 2021, early on. she had gotten that was going to be something that did happen, and so RFK Jr. is thinking about that, supposedly thinking about compensation for people that have been impacted again by doing what they were kind of nudged to do. Now, a seismic shift is underway in the climate debate. New scientific voices challenging long-held orthodoxies with compelling data. Yes, yes, yes. There is hope, you know. You had 47 make that big statement in front of the UN about it being a big scam. The number of Britons who believe the dangers of global warming are exaggerated jumped by 50% in 4 years. So that's huge. We are starting to see people change their minds about things. Some of the indoctrination and conditioning, some of the Stockholm syndrome is starting to wear off, at least in a segment of the population. Thank you guys so much for doing what you're doing. You know, being part of of live chats like this by again sharing the videos, thumbs upping, staying subscribed. I know a lot of times you got to go searching for when we go live. It's been this way since 2019, and I did start the channel in August of 2017. In May of 2019, you know, I happened to cover a news item talking about some legislation that went into effect in Florida. Immediately, I had a strike against the channel, and it was completely demonetized and stayed demonetized for like 4 years. You know, so, you know, again, it's the system. The system, it is what it is. And I think as the more we can do to get more people to realize how big the scope of everything that's been going on truly is. It's every aspect of our lives that has been, you know, distorted, circumvented. And again, they've given us this history written by the victors, which is not even close to accurate. You know, in 6 days, 3i Atlas is going to come to Mars as closest approach. So very, very interesting to watch what's going on. You know, there's been so much buzz about 3i Atlas. Again, we have gotten that this is a ship with consciousnesses on it. So it's, you know, we do not think that this is just another rock, icy rock. And again, so much of what we see that's given to us as meteors, asteroids, comets, they're actually ships. You know, there was 2 that were approaching today pretty close. Just think about that. When you talk about NEOs, near-Earth objects, how convenient just to have everybody conditioned to believe that they're all just space rocks when there's ships coming and going all the time.
Yeah, you know, and they're definitely harbingers of change. And when they come around, they change the frequency. They change our lives, and sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not so good. Sometimes, you know, we're called to just do better, and that's where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So it's really interesting to see everything that's going on. Look at this one now. Concerned citizen here says this clip is 100% authentic from webcam. After it went viral, NASA claimed it was just rockets being fired over the Arctic. What do you think this is? This is really very cool.
Pretty rockets.
Yeah, pretty rockets.
Yeah, pretty.
What do you sense, sweetie?
Well, you know, I don't know about the looks like smoke at the bottom, so
Right.
that has me a little bit concerned. But the rest of it is very, very like jellyfish-like.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think when you really get down to it, most life that's out there is not going to look like us. You know, again, we're one radio station on a channel, just one. And when you think about all the channels that are out there, again, the visible light spectrum is just the tiniest little piece of all that's out there. So I do think a lot of beings would either appear to be shadows if we were able to perceive them, or they'd be some sort of lights. Again, these energy beings.
Oh yeah, they are beautiful. They are beautiful just looking at them.
We've seen all sorts of stuff that points to giants. Look at this top hat. I mean, holy cow, there's been so many different beings on this planet. I think if we really knew, I saw another person posting about centaurs, half horse, half men, and saying, what do you think? Is it really possible? Yes, we are the island of Dr. Moreau, and they still are doing all sorts of genetic experiments going on. They're still hybridizing. When the Bible says, Adam was put to sleep, well, before you go into surgery, they put you to sleep, right? And then took out a rib. Well, again, take out DNA and create another being from that. Hello. I mean, we could understand how all this works now. And, some would say, again, when we finally get to that point that we understand everything that's going on, that's when the reset happens. And yeah, that is true. That's when the resets have happened. The difference is right now, we're at the end of the age. So if we were just going into or in the middle of the Kali Yuga, then we would be kind of on our own. But I don't think that we're on our own now. That's the difference. And I do think when you look to the comets, because there's like 7 of them out there, they are watching us. These are, again, they're either entities inside ships, or some cases, again, when you look to a planet, that's a conscious entity. A star is a conscious entity. The flat earthers will say, stars are not what you think they are luminaries. But then they leave it at that. Okay, well, what do you take a luminary to be? It's going to be a conscious entity is the answer. It is a being. Many people can communicate with them. Many people do. Again, get out into nature, root and ground yourself as best as you can every day. I was just out cutting the lawn, and that was, in some ways, even though it was sweaty, it was refreshing.
It's nice to be outside, be out there in the sun, get the fresh air and everything else. And it's interesting when you speak of luminaries. There's also luminaries very much in person, in the flesh, and you can see that in someone's chart. And what a luminary does, a walking 3D luminary, they wherever they go, they can make people very, very uncomfortable because they illuminate the whole area, and they illuminate the other people that are around them, and that can make other people uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so wonderful to see your names out there, you guys. It's been like such a pleasure to see the same names, to feel the same energies from all you beautiful people out there that have been with us for years. And of course, we welcome those that have come in recently. It truly is. It's why we're here. I know that Cindy and I, when we met, we literally were energetically tied together, and we felt it, and we knew, okay, this is it. We have a big job to do, and we're put together for a specific purpose because we really truly balance each other so well. And sometimes I would get frustrated because I don't have the abilities that she has to get really clear answers. I have to decipher more and try to figure things out like puzzle pieces compared to like Cindy's gifts where she could get direct communication, often again with people that have recently passed on, with obviously guides, angels, etc. We all have guides. And even when you talk about the self, a human being is not so simple as just one soul, one entity. We are mind, body, spirit complexes, and each one of us represents a big team. There's a lot of consciousnesses, taking part in every single human incarnation. You're a lot more important than you realize. So never ever get down. And again, we probably are going to lose one of our friends pretty soon. But he is also a very, very spiritual being. And he knows he's just going home. Again, home is out of the body. This is kind of like, this is a temporary experience. This is taking on a role and living that role to the best of your ability. Home is literally when we leave the body. That's when all of a sudden, the curtain closes and everybody is there. And, again, it's nothing to fear, even in the most challenging of times.
I know. I'm married. Mary D. She says, your abilities balance each other out. Yes, they so do. And, Mike is quite the powerhouse. And you only need to go over to the website and look at just even one or two of those people who have given testimonials. And he's done some really powerful work.
I again feel that it's being a channel. Because where does the healing happen? The healing happens in higher dimensions. This is a top-down multiverse. What do you mean top-down? It's the dimensions above us in frequency that are creating this dimension. And yet, at the same time, it's like, well, we're sort of a footstool for those that are above us. So if we can move ourselves up a little bit higher, the beings above us in the higher dimensions, they could actually go higher too. We are all dependent on each other in many ways, and I don't know if a lot of people really understand that.
And that's why it's so important to stay positive. Sure, sometimes life sucks. Life can get really hard, and you have to choose your suck. I mean, it's messy to heal, but it's worse to stay unhealed. Choose what you want to do. It's very difficult to heal. It can be painful to heal. But if you're not healing and you're stuck in a rut, are you going to stay there? It's hard to exercise. It's hard to get out and do the things. It's hard to lift the weights. It's hard to do the resistance training. But if you don't, you're going to be at home in a bed on an oxygen tank. That's hard too. Life is hard. So important to just support each other. That's not hard.
No, that's it. We're here to support each other, and how much compassion can we hold? How much compassion can we show? How much love can we, send out into the world in the most challenging times? That's actually the greatest opportunity for growth. So I do think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for growth in the coming 3 months or so that's left of this year. I think it is going to be a challenging one. But for many of us that are incarnated at this point in time in the planet, we are here specifically for this pivotal time, and we're here to help as many people as possible. So we're all here to, you Starseed Lightworkers, you're here to put your hand out when it's needed the most, and whatever that looks like. And it might be just simple encouragement. You never know when, one little comment, one little positive comment could literally impact somebody that was going to go jump off a bridge. Literally. I mean, this is the type of possibility that's out there. So, keep shining your light even in the darkest times, guys.
You guys have been really wonderful. Thanks for showing up, for the thumbs up, for all the support. We really appreciate it so much.
Yes, and it's great to share, but sometimes you need your own whoopee, and the kids might like it, and it's understandable. It's understandable. We all have our little safety blankets in life.
Indeed, we do. And we're going to do a quick ding. You guys think a happy thought. You know the drill. Here we go. Source bless and namaste.
Namaste, guys.